Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar, this Classter webinar, where we will be discussing the functionality of students/parents teachers meeting. My name is Elim West, and I'm a technical sales consultant. So in today's webinar, our agenda is to actually talk about the functionality of these meetings. We're going to have we're going to have an overview about the meetings functionality. Then we are going to proceed with the demo. So we will show you how we can schedule a meeting and so on. And again, thirdly, we are providing you with some knowledge-based resources, which are actually some useful links in order to show you and guide you on how to proceed with this functionality. So what can a user actually do in Classter in this functionality specifically? So we can configure parents, students, teachers meeting with Classter. We can create and view these meetings. We can define the meeting duration as a teacher. We can describe the rules needed for these meetings as an administrator. We can also set the availability of the teacher. We can book a meeting as a student or as a parent. We can automatically generate online meetings via Zoom, MS Teams, or Cisco WebEx, and send in-app messages as any type of user. So in this webinar, I'm going to discuss the first part, which is how to schedule a meeting between a parent and the teacher specifically. In the next part, I will be showing you how we can configure the settings as an administrator for these types of meetings. And thirdly, I'm going to show you how a teacher can manually add their availability, so when they are available to have a meeting. Now we are going to proceed for a demo account. First of all, as I have mentioned previously in the first part, I'm going to show you how we can schedule a meeting as a parent. Okay. So we go to one of our parent account. It's a K-12 institute. By the way, usually in K-12 institutes, parents schedule meetings with teachers. However, in higher education institutes or other types of educational institutes, students can directly schedule meetings with their teachers. In our case, we are going to see how a parent can schedule a meeting with a teacher. So from a parent account, we can go directly to teachers, students, parents meeting and click on schedule a meeting. As we can see, we have two available options, view per my availability and view per teacher availability. So I'm going to discuss first view per my availability. This actually means that I'm going to search here for any teacher to discuss anything regarding my children. For example, here I can see directly the students related to me, so my children as a parent. And I'm going to check only one student, Francesca in this case. Okay, so we can have any time. That actually means that the search will show me teachers that are available according to my time, because I have chosen view per my availability. And if I click on show teachers, it will show me that Miss Elaine Borg, for example, on the 3rd of November is available per my available time. So these are the time slots for Miss Elaine Borg. So basically, I'm scheduling a meeting by using view per my availability with any teacher, anyone at all, in order to have a meeting in regard to discuss something about Francesca, my daughter in this case. However, the more popular option in Classter is view per teacher availability. So in this case, we have the same search, but this time we will search for a specific teacher to check when he or her or she is available to have a meeting with me regarding Francesca. For example, if I click on Francesca and I decide to click show the teacher, Miss Elaine Borg, again, I will see a calendar. This calendar will show me when Miss Elaine Borg is available for me to have a meeting with regarding Francesca. So how do we schedule a meeting with Elaine Borg? All we have to do is click on a specified time where we feel comfortable to have a meeting. Let's assume it's at 3:30. And there you go. We have to select first the appointment type. So is it going to be a meeting in person? Is it going to be a call or an online meeting? In this case, we're going to choose an online meeting, and we can always add a comment. For example, Francesca's grades. This is to inform actually the teacher, Miss Ellen Borg, that the meeting is about the grades of Francesca. So if I click on yes, I will see that the time slot that I have chosen has changed now color and is now actually booked. As you can see, it's scheduled. So now I have scheduled a meeting with Miss Elaine Borg to discuss with her about the grades of Francesca. So I have shown you how to do this from a parent's perspective. Let's see how this is translated into the teacher's account. So we're going to go now to Miss Elaine Borg's account and check how this is affecting her calendar, for example. So if you remember, we have chosen the 3rd of November at 3:30 for a time for our meeting. And you can see here that it's already booked and it's already shown in Miss Elaine Borg's calendar. So if I press on it, I can see some meeting comments, Francesca's grades. It's exactly what I have input as a parent. And I can see the respective link that is needed in order to join the meeting. This is a Zoom link. Okay. Now, another thing that we can see in the teacher's account is to go directly to teacher students parents meeting and click on the meeting list. So here we will be seeing the list of our meetings that we have. So if we search from an interval of the 2nd of November until the 8th of November, for example, and press on show meetings, we will see that we have a meeting with the parent, Mr. John in this case, booked at 3:30 until 3:40. Now, as a teacher, we get to set this meeting as completed, or we can cancel the meeting for several reasons. Also, we can add some comments whether this meeting is completed, for example, the results or the agreements that came from this meeting, or the cancellation comments. So why did we cancel this meeting? Okay, and also we can see the online meeting link again here. This is the first part. So we have seen how we can schedule a meeting with a teacher as a parent, and we have seen how the teacher receives this booked appointment. Now we are going to see how we can configure these settings as an administrator. So we are going to go now to an administrator account, and this is the administrator account that we will be seeing. We will go directly to CRM settings, and from CRM settings we're going to click on general settings, and from there we are going to click on students and parents meetings. So this is where we get to configure these settings for these meetings. Okay, these are the settings that we provide. One of them is to enable meetings for user types. That actually means that who is allowed to schedule these meetings. In this case, parents and students are allowed to book these meetings. For example, in our case, it was a parent. However, as I mentioned previously, in higher education and other institutions, students can also book these meetings. The meeting start date is the date that you will define, which basically means that meetings will start to become available. So we are able to book these meetings with our teachers on this date. Okay, the meeting's end date is the date that you define. That will actually mean that after this date, we can no longer schedule meetings with the teachers. Okay, the duration per meeting is in minutes. That defines the time slot in minutes for each meeting duration. So if it's 15 here, that actually means that when you book a meeting with a teacher, the time slot or the duration of this meeting will be for 15 minutes. The maximum number of meetings between two entities, in our case, because we are only talking about parents booking meetings with teachers, this is the amount of meetings that you are able to have with the same teacher per academic period. So if we say that we have, in this case, the parent, Mr. John, is able to book 10 meetings with Miss Elaine Borg in a specified academic period. Okay, the number of days between similar meetings is the number of days that you will choose to define when you are able to have another meeting with the same teacher after you have concluded a meeting. So if this number is 3, for example, and we assume that today I have completed a meeting with Miss Elaine Borg, that actually means that after 3 days, I am eligible to book another meeting with her. Okay, the minimum time to cancel or modify a meeting, this is in hours, that actually means that you define a time. For example, let's take 2 hours. You define a time in which you are able to cancel or modify this meeting. That basically means that if it's set to 2 hours, I can cancel or modify the meeting until 2 hours for its start. Okay, the minimum number of hours that a meeting can be scheduled in advance is the time in hours, of course, that you will choose for a parent in order to be able to schedule a meeting in advance. That actually means that if I set it to 24, I have to schedule this meeting with the teacher in 24 hours in advance. This is usually used in order to give some time for the teacher and the parent in order to be able to prepare for this meeting, to check the points that needs to be discussed and have a fruitful meeting actually. We have added a last setting that will actually allow you to select the preference that you have when you want to schedule a meeting with the teacher. So if you remember, I have shown you, especially in the parents meeting, if we go back to schedule a meeting, I showed you that we have 2 options that we can use, view per my availability and view per teacher availability. So if we go again to this setting and we check per my availability or per teacher availability, that will allow the option that is selected to be predefined. For example, if I check on per teacher availability, then when I want to schedule a meeting with a teacher as a parent, the view per teacher availability will be predefined. So the box in blue will be actually the view per teacher availability. So it is a matter of setting preferences. Okay, now we have shown you how we can schedule a meeting as a parent with a teacher to discuss anything related to our children. Also, we have shown you the settings that are needed and how we can configure them as an administrator for these types of meeting. Now it's time to show you how we can, as a teacher, check or add our own available time. So the first basic rule in order to do that is that the administrator should allow, first of all, this to happen. So the administrator will be allowing the teacher to set or add their own availability. And the way to do this is to go directly to main settings and go after that to general settings. Okay, from general settings, we are going to check on teachers' portal rights. So as you can see, we have allowed teachers to configure their availability for. So we have so many options that we can use, but as you can see, teachers students meeting is one of the options, timetable limitations are another option, and online courses availability. So when we click on teacher students meetings, we are allowing these teachers to be able to configure their availability for these meetings. Okay, how does this translate into a teacher's account to check their own availability is the following. So we're going to go straight to the teacher's account, press again on the dashboard, and here you will notice a button that says set availability. So if we click on set availability and we click then on add, you can add a description. In this case, we are talking about parents meetings. We are available for teachers, students, parents meetings. We will be defining which day we want to have these meetings. For example, let's say it's a Thursday. We will define the start time. Okay, we are available as a teacher from 3 o'clock afternoon until 4 o'clock, and we simply click on add. So once I add this, I have already set my availability as a teacher on a Thursday to have meetings with the parents. One more thing that I can do is that I can change the time slot for my meetings. For example, this is 10 meetings. If I want to have more or less minutes per meeting, I can just change it. If I don't want 10 minutes, I can put 20 minutes. And just like that, my meetings will have durations of 20 minutes. And then I click on save and we are good to go. So this is basically what I wanted to show you in the demo, and I would like then to proceed with the knowledge-based resources. As I have mentioned previously, the third part will talk about the knowledge-based resources, which are actually some useful links that you will be using in order to check these guidelines that I have discussed with you today in this webinar. I would like to thank you personally for this webinar. Thank you for attending, and I hope you had a great time and a fruitful knowledge about this. We will be sending you these knowledge-based resources into your emails, and if you have any further info, feel free to contact us at sales@classter.com. Thank you very much and have a good rest of the day.